name's Jordan Wilton, and I'm an undergraduate student in the Environment Resources and Sustainability program at the University of Waterloo. I'm currently in Eastern Region Ghana at Ashesi University, where we're on the 6th week of our field school focusing on the health dimensions of environmental issues. So I'm going to take you along with me this week, where we're going to be doing a bunch of different field activities, presentations, and exciting group projects. Our core themes start the field school around climate change, plastic pollution, and water insecurity. When we look at environmental issues, its impacts ripple across ecological and human health systems, which is the focus of this week's learning activities. A biosocial approach to health integrates biology and social science to illuminate how socioeconomic and environmental contexts can shape human health in everyday life and throughout life courses. To conceptualize health, we began with an activity called Questcussion, which rather than making statements, we asked questions to encourage curiosity. And our prompting question was, how do we define health? Some questions that came up during my Questcussion between my peer Alan and I were, how do lived experiences shape definitions of health? How might various scales and scope of health be aligned? And how can different methods of healthcare practices coexist and be equally supported? Although health is subjective, definitions and frameworks can help us to form meaningful ways to understand and measure health outcomes. The World Health Organization is the United Nations Special Agency for Health and Global Public Health. It defines health as a state of complete physical, mental, and social well-being. We visited the Ghana National Office, which functions to be a leader in global health, shape the research agenda, and articulate evidence-based policy options. We learned that drivers in health are often external, which requires multidisciplinary approaches to address health outcomes. This week, we learned about social determinants of health, which is an intersectional approach to analyze how money, resources, and power can shape health inequities at various scales. Using this approach, the WHO has an ongoing project in financial planning for the WASH sector to improve programming and funding by understanding who pays for WASH services and where. A holistic way of interpreting the relationship between well-being and environmental issues is through the One Health lens, which connects human, animal, and environmental health and can be applied in the case of public health emergencies. For the WHO, Ghana's country cooperation strategy aligns national office planning and programming to the African region and globally. In this report, they estimated that 70% of epidemics are zoonotic, which underscores the need for One Health approach in health emergency preparedness.
iGEM is an international competition where we are encouraged to use synthetic biology to solve real-world problems. Here, what we do in Ashesi, we are trying to solve coastal erosion and plastic pollution using synthetic biology.
I'm working with the iGEM team and my fellow Waterloo students on drafting bioethics policy. So this looks like how their synthetic organism is going to react in laboratory settings, as well as safety protocols for when it's released into the environment and starts its bioremediation purposes. Let's go.
So currently we're working with bacteria in hydrogen base. So this helps to protect the bacteria from contaminating the environment.
Environmental biosecurity is critically important when synthetic organisms are intended for environmental change. For this project, the organism is designed for bioremediation by breaking down plastics in seawater. Our task is to research what is known about the synthetic organism's ability to interact with marine ecosystems so that we can fully understand and mitigate environmental risks. We toured Ashesi University's small-scale water system, which is an independent water grid located on a mountain, which acts as a geographical barrier and cannot connect with the main utility line. Their water comes from 3 sources: boreholes, rainwater, and tanker trucks who obtain water from other borehole sources, which all go through treatment and testing. Because this water is taken from shared aquifers, more mapping and documentation is needed to inform decision-making and promote water security. During the backwashing process, water is currently being sent downstream into other communities. Currently, they're trying to find a new way to reuse this water into the system. As a part of a group project, we are analyzing the environmental issue of climate change and its impacts on flooding. And each week we're looking at it through different dimensions, including technological, socioeconomic, policy, and this week is health. Similar to Ashesi's water treatment system, flooding and its impacts on healthcare facilities can be indicated by geographical conditions in shared infrastructure systems. In our research on health this week, we found a paper that identified health facilities in Accra that are highly exposed to disaster hazards and their level of vulnerability. What's missing from the story is people and their lived realities during flooding events. As a part of our group project, we just got to consult with Bridget, who is the Director of Health Services here at Ashesi University, and we've learned more about how flooding impacts the healthcare services within this local context.
We learned about individual experiences and how households are restricted because of flooding in streets and walkways. They can't access healthcare facilities or even go to work or school.
We heard about how many people have to wait for flooding to recede, which results in stress and anxiety from relocation and property loss, but also poses a challenge for accessing healthcare during emergencies. This insight informs the design of our flood-related innovation by grounding our approach in the lived experiences, priorities, and social dynamics of affected communities. This week has taught me that health isn't just a medical issue. It's shaped by environment, infrastructure, and inequality. Working across disciplines of science, engineering, and ethics has shown me that promoting health requires us to work together and acknowledge the limits of our own knowledge. I have grown as a leader by being reminded that meaningful change starts with empathy, listening, and designing with people's lived health experiences at the center.